said that the love of a pretty girl was the only thing in this whole wide world that mattered.
Hi there, everybody. Welcome to another episode of the Cloud-Based Mayhem. Got a great show for you today. A lot of people have been wanting me to talk to Damien Lacaze. If you don't know that name, you should. And if you don't, you'll be psyched you do after this show. He was Antoine Girard's partner on that huge bivvy those guys went and put down this summer in the Pakistani Himalaya, flying through some really seriously rad terrain, the Tarango Towers and Broad Peak, and they did some mountaineering on that. It's awesome story, and really appreciate him giving it to us. So before we get to that, though, a couple little bits of housekeeping. There's a race coming up down in Valle right before Monarca. If you haven't been to Valle before, you need to get down there. It's amazing. But Monarca filled up pretty quick, and this is a good reason to go down. Marco's race, Marco I had on the podcast a while back. He is a Czech pilot. He's also in the X-Alps this year. It's his first go at the X-Alps. Really awesome pilot. He won the Monarca last year on an ENC glider. But he, last year was the inaugural, what's called the XC Sky Race, which is really aimed at just the best XC pilot. They have a really cool scoring algorithm that combines X contest, but also your wing classification and how fast you fly, and you're basically just rewarded for going big and getting home, so putting up the best points. So you can definitely win this thing on like an ENB glider. Super fun, very casual, great way to get warmed up for the Monarca, much less stressful than kind of race to goal comps. It is the 6th to the 12th. It's like $200, super cheap. They did a great job last year. He's refined the scoring system a bit to adjust for the different wings, and it's just going to be a blast. There's 3, as I know, I think there might even be more than that, but there's at least 3 X-Alps pilots in it. Myself, Willie Cannell, and Marco himself, the race director. So great opportunity to fly with some good pilots and get a lot of mentoring and get used to Valle and get all warmed up for the Monarca. So go to xcskyrace.com, check that out, and sign up if you can. The second bit of housekeeping, it's been a long time this morning with the Foundation for Free Flight with Jane, who took it over a little while back after the hang gliding episode we did, and David Glover. They put me in touch, and I've been working with the Foundation for Free Flight for quite a while because of the last 2 X-Alps campaigns. They've been super supportive for hang gliding and paragliding competitions, the world's teams. But also, their biggest work by far is site preservation and safety. And a lot of people just really don't know what they do. This is a totally separate branch from USPA. Jane actually used to run USPA. But those of you who fly in North America, especially those of you who fly in the States, please go check out their website. Just Google Foundation for Free Flight. And if you can, in this holiday season, if you can bump them a few dollars, they do really important work. Their entire staff is volunteer, and they keep most of our precious sites open around the country. So they do very important work that a lot of people don't know about. And in this 'tis the giving season, they could use some dollars for sure. And I promise you, they're just fantastic people doing wonderful things, and they're making it possible for all of us to enjoy our sky crack addiction. Okay, let's get to the show. Damien Lacaze, he was Benoit Outer's supporter. I'm not saying Benoit's last name right. I'm probably not even saying his first name right. But those of you who watched the 2017 X-Alps, you know that only 2 people got in, Kriegel and Benoit. What I didn't know, what's unbelievably fascinating, they're actually not allowing this in 2019, but Damien flew every single flight with Benoit. So clearly a super talented pilot. He kind of got the best of all the worlds of the X-Alps. He didn't walk on the roads, but he did every hike with Benoit, and he did every flight with Benoit, including day 2. Those of you that watched that race, and we talk about this in the show, some terrifically strong North Fern going from the south side from the north side over the south side. I watched Benoit coming down through the canyon and landing on a backside of a cliff in the trees, and he actually got a little bit of hurt doing that. And I was wondering who was right with him, and that was Damien. So very, very talented pilot, lives in southern France in the Maritime Alps, and kind of near Briançon. And in that race, or just before the race, got to know Antoine Girard, who on that exact same day, day 2, got really hurt trying to launch in those very dicey conditions and wasn't able to keep going. But Antoine got healed up and went back. As you all know, he was the first person to break the 8,000 meter record, I think 2 years before that, flying over Broad Peak. So he got a good look at the Himalaya and got a good look at that whole zone, and desperately wanted to go back. And so those guys became friends at Kupakar, and well, the rest is history. That 1,500 km, incredible bivvy, some pretty wild mountaineering, some cerebral edema, and the very first day, Antoine lands super hard because you're flying very, very high there, and you're landing very high, so you're flying really fast. And he thought he broke his ankle, and Damien really thought the expedition was over, and Antoine just powered through as he does. So yeah, tough dude. I won't tell you anymore. You're gonna love this story. I appreciate Damon fighting through it in his non-native language, but we had a blast doing this, and I think you're gonna really enjoy it. So without further delay, please enjoy this conversation with Damien Lacaze. Damien, so great to have you on the show. I really appreciate it. I just read your 3 incredible articles. I mean, I did the translation from French to English with Google, so I'm sure it loses some of its articulation. But it's an amazing story, and I can't wait to talk to you about the big Volbiv trip you did with Antoine, my friend Antoine. He's been doing some amazing things lately. Before we get to Pakistan and your big expedition, I'd love to just ask you briefly about the X Alps. You were Benoit's supporter in the race in 2017, and you were the only other team to finish other than Kriegel. And before we started recording a couple days ago, you mentioned that you did quite a bit of flying with Benoit in the race. I wonder if you could just tell us a little bit about your experience in the X Alps.
Thank you, Gavin. In first, I think normally next cross country mag will publish an English article.
Oh, great!
I don't know when. I think the next one. So it's a shorter article, a bit shorter, but it's quite the same. Then for a previous X Alp with Benoit, well, in 2016, when Benoit was selected, I just sent him an SMS for congratulate him. He responded me, "Do you come with me? I'm looking for a pilot for fly with me." So he had already all the supporter, the assistant for drive and for cooking and the other things. It was interesting for me to do this race, but only the good things. Only fly or walk in the mountain, and no run into the shower and in the flat roads. So
perfect. It was like the perfect X Alps experience.
Yeah. So I said yes, and we did that. I flew with him every day, and I walk in the mountain every day. Only when Benoit walks on the road, I stay in the car and help him to eat and to know where he go.
And were you were you friends before, or you just?
Yeah, we were friends for not for a long time, not for a very long time, because Benoit is flying for 4 years, 3 years. He's a beginner in paragliding. Before he was an ultra trailer. So and one day he lived in Gourdon. Do you know Gourdon?
Yeah, I know it well.
In the south.
Yeah, beautiful place.
And one day he landed very close to my home in Embrun with a friend with me, and I didn't know Benoit, and the other guy, my friend, called me and said, "Hey, could we sleep in your home because it's late and now it's night and we are looking a home." So he come with Benoit for sleep in my home, and Benoit was only 1 year of flight, and he did his flight with Ux 3 Nivyuk, NB
Wow.
glider. Yeah, he did 160 k's with
Wow.
that.
Amazing talent. What a
I
talented pilot.
yeah, 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 he had a very very fast progression, and I know him like that. And 2 years ago, we the years after we a month after that we fly some cross country together. And 2 years ago he was selected to X-Alp, and he proposed to me to come with him. I said yes, and I was sure Benoit wanted to go to this race, not only for discover the race and for participate. I know his pilot qualities, and I know too his runner qualities, and I knew it was able to do a big thing in this race, and he did it.
What do you think? I know we need to speak about Pakistan, but just because I'm such an X-Alps junkie, and you know I'm going back this year, and I know you applied to go back, and the French are so deep with talent, you know, with Gaspard and Antoine and and Maxime. It was, you know, I feel bad that you didn't make the team, but make the X-Alps, because obviously you're very, very well qualified, and I'm sure you'll make it in 2021. But you know, what do you think was the real what made your success in the race? Because, you know, for a rookie and someone who hadn't been flying very long, I mean, obviously very good pilot and very strong physically, but you know, it's challenging for a rookie team to come in second. What do you think was the reason for your success?
It's like I think it's like cross country competitions. I compete in PWC,
Mm-hmm.
and the best pilots win, but there is always chance factor.
Yeah,
Do you know
sure.
chance or yeah?
Sure.
And Benoit is very strong in flight, and I think with me we were the only French with a flight supporter. I think it's a really good help
Yeah.
for be competitive. And moreover, maybe we have a little bit chance. Yeah, we were at the right place at the right time, and Benoit were very strong because all the night after the flight, he push him to run and to do 20 k's more by foot every night, every morning. Then on the morning, go up of 2,000 meters up, and he did maybe 3,000 meters by day for 10 days every day.
Yeah.
Plus 80 k's by foot. It was incredible. And
Yeah.
plus,
He's very strong.
He was strong, so he used his 2 night pass. It's very important, and the second one permit him to pass in front Paul.
And pass in front of Paul,
yeah,
because Paul was right in there with you guys after the Matterhorn. He was pretty tight, wasn't he? So, you know, this year Damien, they've changed the rules now, and you can't team fly in 2019, because that's been a complaint of some of the pilots in the past. And I think, you know, for me personally, because Kriegel has never done it, I've always, I don't care. To me, it doesn't matter at all. But do you think, will you be, 2 questions, will you be supporting him this year again? And then how do you think it will affect him without having the team flying? Because clearly you guys really flew well together.
So I'm aware about the new rules, because Tom de Dorlodo asked me to do the same with him next year. So and then he read the reglement. How do you
the
say in
rules,
English?
the regulations.
And he saw it was forbidden to have a flight supporter. So
Are you going to be supporting Tom this time?
yeah, so
Ah.
no, Benoit asked me to do the same, and I take the time for reflection, and I said no to the two
Okay.
guys because it's too much time to do that, and it's lots of time and not for me.
Yeah.
So it's one thing. It's a wonderful experience, but two, it's too much. I think for me,
it's a major commitment. Okay, one more X-Alps question, and then we switch to Pakistan. Day 2 of the race. Remember, day 1 was terrible, and then day 2 was really strong North Fern and very dicey. I had taken my night pass, so I was down with Sebastian Huber down in the, because when we got to the pass that night or that morning, it was totally unflyable, and then it started getting better. And at one point, I was down, making my way south towards Slovenia, but just out of that very deep canyon. And I turned around and I started seeing, Gaspard and Benoit and people, Paul, flying out of that canyon. It was just terrifying, and they really incredibly strong and very, very dicey conditions. Did you fly with him there too?
Yeah,
really.
No, if you want to know all the history, it's a bit funny because we walk on the pass. The path with the lake and
with the dam and all that.
We would like to take off on this pass, and when we reach it, we saw the wind, and we said it's not possible to fly. Very, very strong, very turbulent. It's a fun wind. So we go by foot. In flat, we don't go down. You understand?
You contour
the mountain at the same altitude.
Yep.
Down the wind to and we would like to find another takeoff, maybe 1 or 2 k's more under the wind, and we thought maybe it will be a bit less turbulent. So we were try to find this and probably take off, and maybe 2 hours or 3 hours later we find a takeoff a bit protected by the fun, but we hesitated. It was very turbulent, very strong to take off, and we watched in the valley, and we saw the right wing of Gaspard going down the valley at maybe 80 kph with the wing in all the positions, and we saw there is Gaspard here, and Gaspard is the only guys I know who pass fun cloud in flight.
Yeah, I just recently went back and looked at the replay of the race, and he had taken off from way over on the south side. He flew up and over the pass. Late. Oh, Jesus, terrifying!
It was very late.
Oof.
Yeah, and so we saw Gaspard. So we said we have to fly now. It's not possible to. So I take off in first, and because it's my job. It was my job, and my wing fly maybe 10 meters, and then nothing. My wing come all, I don't know, big fully opened, but no fly, and I crash into the grass, maybe 10 meters.
Ooh.
I don't know why. No collapse, no.
Wow.
So I was okay, but I said Nelson was with us too. So I said to Benoit and Nelson, okay, if you want to go, I watch you, and after I will decide if I try again. So Benoit go. Benoit go, and he chose a bad moment. I think he take a small collapse and fly to go in the gorge, but he was low, very low, and in the gorge he going down very fast.
Very fast.
But
I saw his whole flight.
yeah,
I saw him land in the trees, and it was just,
and
oh God.
with Nelson, we were in the takeoff and we can see him. So we taking off together just after, and for us it was better. We go up a little bit in soaring with the fun and go in the gorge, but higher.
Yeah.
And maybe 5 minutes later, I saw Benoit landed in the gorge just behind a big rock under the wind, and he said me by radio, go away, don't land here.
Yeah.
And so I fly a bit with Gaspard and Nelson, and I land just after the valley when the fun was lighter,
Yeah.
and I land in back fly.
Yeah.
So it was very strong. And Benoit, until his foot catches the ground, he thought I'm gonna die. I'm gonna die all the time. So it was not a good experience. But after that, he Pierre Rivalois, a friend of him who drive the team with his computer in France, call him and send him. You have a takeoff at 600 meters above you if you want to try again. And Benoit walk up and try again in the fun and take off again and make a big flight until just maybe 20 k's before Slovenia.
Yeah, just well, I actually was just getting ready to take off right when Benoit was coming down the canyon, because I was just beyond the canyon and I'd found a little launch, and I had to kind of go around a corner to get out of the fern and out of this really strong wind, and I looked back and I saw Benoit go in there. I saw him go into and I couldn't tell from my perspective if he was in a tree or he was okay, but I called the safety director, the Red Bull safety director, and I said, there's a lot of wings coming out of this canyon and someone's going to get hurt. This is crazy. I mean, I don't know who it was. I don't know if it was Gaspard. No, it wasn't Gaspard because he kept going, but one of the pilots got out of the canyon there and he was quite high. He had enough height to go quite a bit further, and he just spiraled right to the ground. He just was like, okay, that's it. I'm done.
Yeah, it was me who spiraled onto the ground because I
that was you.
Waiting for Benoit. Yeah, it was me at the end of the valley. I landed here because it was more safe.
Yeah,
and I have to wait for Benoit.
Yeah, because I had the same.
If I was an athlete, I didn't land here.
Oh,
and
man.
Gaspard saw me, and he said me that after he saw me landed here, and he didn't understand why, and he didn't know it was me.
Right. Yeah. Man, he was sure having a good race until he got hurt. It was fun to watch him. But well, amazing. I have to hand it to you. That was obviously very, very good training going through the Alps for what was to come. Did you know then during the race that you and Antoine were going to Pakistan, or did that happen much later?
Yeah, the first time we talked about that, it was during the pre-week before the race.
Okay.
We have lots of time for
plenty
and wait for some interview or shooting photo. So we talked about that with Benoit, and maybe we said we can go in Pakistan by 2 teams of 2 persons, or 1 team or 3 maybe. It was the first time we talk about that. And then in September at the Coupe Car, Benoit said us, I can't I can come with you because he find a job in the bombers, and so Antoine was already looking for one guy. So I said, okay, I'm okay, and I knew Antoine a bit before, but it wasn't a friend. We flew some XSC cross country fly together, and we talk a bit when we see in competition, but it wasn't a friend before this adventure.
So tell me about the kind of the lead up from Kupakar to when you went to Pakistan. Obviously Antoine had done the big solo journey there the year before the X Alps, and that's when he got the altitude record in front of Broad Peak, and they made that amazing film. But when you decided to team up together, did you fly much together before the trip, or was it mostly that winter just talking about logistics and what you would bring and equipment and that kind of thing? What were you doing in the kind of between September and June?
No, Antoine is a very busy guy.
Yeah.
So we didn't fly a lot together between September and the departure. We just organized a full weekend to with all the equipment, maybe 1 month before the departure, to check all the details, and but we didn't fly a lot together before. But I know Antoine. I know he's a good pilot, and he knew me. We know it was not a problem, but
for the listeners, if you're not aware, the day we were talking about, the second day of the X Alps, that was so incredibly dicey. Antoine also tried to take off in quite a similar place where Damien was talking about, and he got really hurt, and that was the end of his race. So that was another question I had for you. How was he when he was because I think in Kupakar he was still pretty injured, wasn't he? And then was he 100% by the time of your trip?
Antoine, I think, his new was not 100%, but he was good.
Okay.
He could, he can before departure he can walk normally. He can take a big bag.
Okay.
But he can't run.
Right. Okay.
And but it was the same for me because I had a surgery 3 months before the departure, a little surgery, but I wasn't at 100% too. So we were two injury guys.
Okay, so you got to fly together and kind of test the equipment about a month before you went. But how did you decide on the route? Because you forwarded that link to me. I looked at it. It's amazing. And it's in your articles, and I'll point the listeners to your articles in the show notes. But well, first, had you been to Pakistan before? Was this your first trip?
No, neither. It was my first time in Asia.
Okay, first time in the Himalaya.
Himalaya, never Nepal, neither. And for the route choice, I let Antoine choose the main part of the route, because I didn't know this Himalaya, and I just said to him, I would like to see Nanga Parbat, and maybe to fly in Balto like you 2 years ago. Antoine knows that country because he did a big Volbiv 2 years ago, and he chose a route who cross Sahara he didn't know yet. So we would like to go on in the west, near the Afghan border, because he said it was very nice, very peace, and very forgotten mountains, very savage. savage.
Yeah.
I don't know.
I like that word. Very savage.
Yeah,
Very
savage.
remote and
Then we want to do a little. Do you know parenthèse? No.
no.
During the trip, we include mountaineering option.
Yep.
Yeah, mountain.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about your gear. What did you have? Crampons, ice axe, rope.
Not during the first part. There was a 3 parts. No, so the first part is around 1,000 k's of Volbiv between Skardu and Karimabad.
Okay.
And we decided to stop in Karimabad to take some
food.
Yeah, repos, and to take some rest. Sorry.
Yep.
And try to do 7,000 meters mountain with a paragliding approach, and to go up and go down in 2 days to Karimabad to summit, and summit to Karimabad in 2 days.
Okay. I didn't quite understand that from the articles. Okay, so
normally, if you want to make a 7,000 meters summit, maybe in classic mountaineering, you have to take 1 month maybe for acclimatation,
sure.
Approach, porter. The trip was to make a little revolution in mountaineering approach, and to land directly at the bottom of the face, and just climb the face and take off from the summit and going down immediately.
Now, were you using your just light normal the wings that you had flown with for the first 1,000 K, or did you use single surface wings like super light gear for that part?
No. Because from Karimabad to our landing on the big area under the summit, we had to fly 40 Ks across country, 40 Ks. So maybe 2 or 3 hours of flight. So with single surface, it was not possible. We need cross country wings, but we took a string harness, very light harness, and no rescue.
Okay.
Because we had to walk with all the stuff after, or try to take off from the summit. And for alpinism gear, we have sent a bag with all the stuff in to a contact, a guy who we know in Karimabad, and he was keeping the bag, and going us back when we arrived in Karimabad.
And that did that work? It all worked out. So you flew the 40K to the kind of the base of the mountain, or the base area, and you switched out your gear, and then you did the summit.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, with ice axes, crampon, rope, and only in the bag 2 days of food, a little tent, no sleeping bag. The wing is a good sleeping bag, and the wing for flight, for going down.
And was this where Antoine got hurt? Or is that later?
His uncle. No, it was the first day, first landing.
Oh no. Okay, so he.
Yeah.
But it wasn't broken, was it? Because in the article he said, "Oh, I think I broke my ankle."
Yeah, in the first on first flight day, we made an amazing flight from Skardu to the west of Nanga Parbat. We flew on the southwest of Nanga Parbat. Do you know the
yes
alpinism history of Elisabeth Revol this winter?
No.
The French.
No.
It's a woman who were blocked in this mountain from 3 or 4 days with his companion dead, and with a big expedition to rescue. And so we fly just on this part of the mountain,
Wow.
on the Nanga Parbat, and after we land maybe 40 k's in the west of this mountain. Our first landing, maybe we flew 15 kilo over the
Over the limit.
weight max. Yeah, and we land at 4,500 meters. So we land very fast without wind. So we land very fast. And in this first landing, Antoine broke his ankle, and the ankle became blue very quickly, and I don't know the name. Very big ankle. He can't walk, and he said me, so for the next, it's forbidden to walk now. We have to land on the top every day, and we did that.
So the Damien, so the 1,000K between Scardu and the 7,000 meter climb. What was the name of that place? I should have the map in front of me.
The Spantik.
Spantik. Okay. How much of that? So because his ankle, did you fly all of it, or were you still having to walk some?
No. After that, we knew it was impossible to walk for him. Moreover, we had a very, very big bag, because we took 15 or 16 days of food, because we planned to not going down before Karimabad. So Karimabad he was at 1,000 k's of Skardu by the route. So we take a bag around 35 kilos with water, very, very heavy.
Oof.
So we decided to don't walk, and it was forbidden for us to land in the bottom of the valley. We try every day to land in high altitude between 4,000 and 6,000 meters, and for that we find a landing place very early, maybe at 4 p.m., 5 p.m., but not later, because we really don't want to land in the bottom.
You didn't want to bomb out. So I was writing to you before when we were kind of thinking about some of the podcast questions, and the two really big bivvies that I've done in Canada and Alaska, I never found it very reasonable to carry more than like 7 days of food. How did you manage 16 days of food? Like what gear did you have? Because it's a lot of weight and it's a lot of space. I've just for me, it's always been the space. It hasn't really been the weight. It's just been the place to put it.
We took the minimum, where we took only for 1 day in food. We took one dehydrated pack.
Okay.
Yep. Lyophilisé.
Yep.
And 200 grams of cereal, like muesli for the morning.
Okay.
And some cereal like almonds or nuts or during the day, but no more. So maybe 400 grams of food dehydrated by day, no more. It was not enough if we walked.
Yeah. Okay.
But,
so just bare minimum calories, just for flying.
Yeah, and we knew if we are forced to walk and to eat more, we can going down immediately and find a village when we want. But the plan was to try to reach Karimabad in one shot.
Okay. So how much bivvy experience did you have coming into this trip?
Before, for me, I did only one bivvy fly before. I crossed Moroccan Atlas with a friend in 2013.
So you had the one bivvy in the Atlas in Morocco, and then so this was the kind of the second big one.
Yeah, it's my second big one, and of course the biggest.
Yeah, it doesn't
And
get much bigger than that. So, how many days? How many days did it take you for the first segment from the start? The first day, Antoine breaks his ankle. Was it literally broken?
Yeah, no, not broken, but I don't know the name exactly.
Yeah, I think sprained.
will
I looked
search.
at the pictures and it was just really swollen and very, very purple. And I it looks like to me a sprain, which is really painful.
It was a tearing of ligament. Do you understand?
Yeah, of course. Ouch.
Yeah. It was very bad because now he's not in 100% of for his ankle, and he said he tell to his surgeon, the doctor, he want to do the next XALP, so he doesn't want to have a surgery, and he have to plan a surgery for after the next XALP because his ankle is not good.
Ouch! Well, so, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, it's not very good. Yeah. And I think if I was him at this moment, I choose to stop the expedition. I don't know why he doesn't want to stop. And, I say to Antoine, if you want to stop, it's not a problem. Don't go only for me. And no, it was not for me. he go on for him just because he never give up.
Wow, he's strong in the mind. He's very strong because
it's not good for.
I mean, it's one thing to do the flying, all the way down to the climbing section, but once you got to the climbing section, and technical climbing is really hard on the ankle. That must have been excruciating for him.
For the ascent of Spantik, it was okay because it was maybe 20 days before his shock, his accident.
Okay.
This accident.
Okay.
So the ankle was not good, but the pain was supportable, and he wear big shoes, big high mountain shoes, so the ankle don't move enough, and he walked in the snow, so it's not like when you walk on a road, for example, the foot don't move enough, and it was okay.
Okay, and briefly just outline after the climb, and we're going to come back and do, and get into each of these areas deeper. But so the third segment after, what is the name of the peak you climbed?
Spantik.
Yeah, Spantik. After that, it's completing the circuit, correct? It's getting back to the beginning.
No. So from Skardu to Karimabad, we fly 12 days for the first part.
Okay.
In 12 days, we were in Karimabad. Then Spantik, we had bad weather during the ascension, so we were forced to going down only 100 meter before the summit. 100 meter is maybe 30 minutes of walk, but the weather was very, very bad, and we were forced to going down.
Yep.
And moreover, Antoine was very tired, and I didn't understand why. I knew Antoine, and he's a very strong guy, and he can do make the track in the snow. He's too tired. It's not a normal situation. And when we go down, I see the really situation of Antoine. He was very, very bad. He's sleeping, sitting down in the snow and sleeping immediately. I was forced to call him for wake up and going down again. And after doctor said us he was making a cerebral, how do you know?
Cerebral edema.
Edema. Yeah, no pulmonary, cerebral. Yeah, he was sleeping always, and then in the bad weather we stay 2 days in the snow at 6,500 meters on the plateau.
Ooh.
And we can doing down because under the plateau there is only cliff and serac, and so we absolutely need to take off, and we waiting 2 days for better weather.
Oh man, he was really sick. I mean, that's incredibly dangerous.
We take off in the cloud because it was very important to go down. Antoine was very bad, and as soon as the wind was in the right direction and not too strong, we made a route on our GPS and taking off through the clouds, and we fly 5 kilometers through the clouds to go down by follow the arrow in the GPS. And after we going out to the clouds and saw the valley and the glacier, and we said, "Oof, it's okay. Now we are safe."
Was that a really scary flight? It sounds terrifying.
Yeah. We were after the takeoff. We were soulagé.
White out. You couldn't see.
Yeah, we were relieved. You know,
relieved. Yeah. Very happy.
We relieved because we were in flight, but very, very scared by the clouds and around Earth. There is lots of peaks over 6,000 meters. 6,000 meters. Yeah, and
you can't see them.
It was very afraid to follow this arrow and don't know if big mountains show his face 20 meters behind. But 5 kilometers like that is very long.
That's a long way. That's really, that's scary. I don't know if you've seen the opening of our Alaska film, but I got stuffed into a cloud in very different circumstances, but I got cloud suck and got up in a cloud for about 20 minutes, and you start following the arrows and trying to trust in your instruments, and it's very tense to say the least. It's scary. You hope you don't just suddenly run into a mountain.
Yeah, because we haven't any choice, and at the moment when we are in that situation for 2 days, and you have to go down now, because if you wait 1 day more, maybe your friend can't wake up because
maybe he dies.
He can't eat, he can drink, he sleep every day. So you said us, okay, I take off. If I crash in the mountain, tant pis, comme on dit en français. I will try, and we will see. But I prefer to crash on the mountain in the cloud to stay here
than to just sit and die. Oh man. Okay, so you make it down. You get down to the bottom, and what is the third? What is the next step? What's the third segment?
Going down, we are some problem with police, because they knew we fly in the area, and we haven't any authorization. So we take 2 days in the office to regularize the situation. But the police is very kindly, and just they explain it was forbidden to fly without authorization. And some shippers in the mountains, we meet some shippers in the mountain. They took some picture of us and put on Facebook.
Oh.
And we didn't know that. And in the hotel Karimabad, a policeman come and show me a picture on his smartphone, and it was me on Facebook. And
amazing.
Is it true? I think it was a tourist. And I tell him, yes, it's me. It's nice. Where do you find it? And he said me, I'm a policeman. It's forbidden to fly in the mountain. It was funny, but you have to be careful with the shipper in Pakistan.
They all have iPhones now. Unbelievable.
So 2 days with police for that, and after we are waiting for 1 week, about bad weather again. So we made a good choice to try to go down by flight, because the weather was not better the next days. So if we choose to wait on the plateau on the Spantik, maybe we wait a very long time in bad weather. So 1 week later, the weather became better, and we tried to go back to Skardu, but with a visit to Baltoro Glacier and Trango Tower, K2, and Broad Peak. So for that we had to cross over the Spantik and to go east to Ascoli. Ascoli is the last village before Baltoro Glacier. It's the start of every big treks until K2 base camp and Ispar Glacier, the very famous trek in Pakistan. So we did a flight over 130 k's from Karimabad to Ascoli, and we landed on a ridge at 5,000 and 3,000 meters, and wait for a good day for try to go in Baltoro. So
just amazing.
This flight, connection flight, it's very, very wilderness, very savage. We are cross the Spantik, so we have to fly over 6,500 meters to pass under, to cross the Spantik. So and the cloud base was very limited. We are forced to climb maybe 200 or 300 meters above the cloud base to cross the Spantik, and after we going down a big glacier, maybe 30 kilometers, to going down with no landing area, and lots of walk days if we land. So, yeah, all the flight, if we during the trip, if we land on the glacier, maybe we have to walk 1 week to going to the first village, and with the ankle
it's impossible.
of Antoine, very complicated if we land.
Yeah.
So this part is very hard to integrate, to keep in mind during all the flight.
Yeah. So, and then is that how many days was from Spantik to the end?
Spantik to the end, we flew 1 day to Ascoli. Then Ascoli, we had 1 day of very bad weather. We spent in the tent all the day, and the day next, the day after, we go in Baltoro Glacier. We did one tentative to go to the Broad Peak. The weather and the cloud base wasn't higher, so we going down. We going back at the same place and make another flight. So 3 days, and after we going back maybe 5 days. 5 days, yeah.
Okay.
5 days to finish the trip.
Wow. And tell me just briefly about your gear. Obviously, you had the different gear when you did the climb, but what wing, what harness, what other different things that maybe wouldn't be obvious, like the difference of what you had in Morocco and the Atlas versus what you had in the Himalaya?
Yeah, in Morocco, I had. I think you don't know this brand, Nervure. It's a French brand of paragliding. It's the last brand who make his paraglider in France.
Okay,
that's the last one. And for Pakistan, I had Advanced Glider Omega XL2. Antoine had ozone glider because he's annual sponsored,
Yep.
so he keep his LMC6. And for harness, for us, the only harness who permit to transport all this stuff and maybe 10 days or more of food, it's the Colibri, Cortel Colibri, because the backpack is very large. You can remove the back protection and the ass protection to put a sleeping bag, tent, water. You can, I don't know, maybe you can put inside maybe 80 liters of stuff and of gear. So for that, it's very, very, very good harness and very robust too.
Yeah, they
And yeah, and for alpinist material, we had a Petzl gear, very light ice axes, and Pule. I don't know the name in English. Pule. Harness too. Harness for climbing. It was Petzl.
Yep.
And for the rescue, we had two companion by Advance. Companion SQR light.
Okay. That's a round.
Yeah. That's no, not a round. It's an hybrid between a square and round.
Okay, but not a steerable. It's a very lightweight.
Yeah, it's a 170 grams.
Okay.
Up to 100 kilos.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah, like an X-Alps reserve.
Yeah.
When you think back now on the trip, obviously there was like the ankle and Antoine getting sick, which is really scary. But and I know this is difficult. You did a very good job of this in the article. I know it's difficult in English, but can you tell us like the high moment of the trip and the low moment of the trip?
Yeah, definitively. I think the low moment was on the Spantik, on this tent where we sleep two first night under the storm, and with Antoine in very bad situation. So it was, for me it was very difficult because I ask me always what is gonna happen now if Antoine can't take off. What can I do? Can I let him alone here to call rescue? Can I stay with him? So for me it was very difficult. It was the lowest point, and the higher point. There is lots of very good moments, and but the higher for me it when we flew above Triangle on Baltoro Glacier, because before paragliding I was an alpinist and a climber. So for me, Triangle it's a legend. Like and it's a legend. It's inaccessible mountain, very very huge granite tower, and to fly over that, we just when in pulling the handle and thermaling some ascendance, it was crazy. Yeah, it was so easy. It was incredible, and the broad peak too. But for me, the better moment was just the Triangle Towers.
And tell me about the flying, because it's, I have often heard, I spent some time with John Sylvester, who's, done a lot of flying in Pakistan and the Himalaya. And you mentioned in your article that you frequently had climbs that were, as strong as you can get in the world, really. I mean, we get 12 and 13 meter climbs here in Sun Valley on a really big summer day in the Rockies. And that's quite unusual, but it sounded like that was pretty common. But was it scary flying, or was it, because I've heard that the flying and it can be quite soft. It's quite nice. I mean, strong thermals, but they're nice. Is that true?
No. Before the trip, Antoine said me, you will see thermals are very very strong, but very large and smooth. It's cool. And at the first flight, we see that's not the same than 2 years ago. The thermals are very strong, but not cool. A bit like in Swiss mountain,
sharp.
But it was not worst of like Swiss. Maybe a bit strong, very strong thermal. The stronger I have never seen, but no, it was not dangerous. It was well, like in mountain, but in big mountains, so big thermals. And so, every day we flew in 10 meter by second thermals every day.
Wow.
For the first day, it's very impressive, and but after 2 days, it's normal. And when we turn in a 4 meters by second, you said okay, go away.
It's nothing. That's a bad climb.
all the proportion of the mountains and thermal are the same. It's same proportion, but all is biggest. So it's not when you
adjust.
when we see mountains, you can say it's like the Alps. It's the same valley, mountains. It's not very high. The proportion are equals, but en fait, all is very, very big. When we cross a valley, about 10 minutes, you look at your position and you say, "Oh, I'm not in the middle of the valley yet. It's very long." But you saw that when we try to cross it. But if you saw just the valley in a picture or just a look, you think it's a classic valley like in the Alps, but is very, very big.
But it's the Rhone times 10.
Yeah,
it's huge.
Yeah, and for the 13 meters by second, this day was particular. I think with after the trip, I think this day was the day of the year. It was really
perfect,
an amazing day. At 10 a.m. We fly over 6,000 meters at 10 a.m. and and the thermal became strong and strong and strong, 10, 12, and then 30 meter by second. And this day we reached 7,090.
7,900
meters. Yeah, but above small mountains, not above 8,000 meters. We flew above 5,000 meters mountains. It was incredible. On this day, I think if we were on K2 area, it's sure we made maybe 8,400 or 500. It was very, very, very good day.
Wow.
But yeah.
Matt Wilkes has done a lot of really interesting study on high altitude flying and what it does to your physiology and your mind. And obviously with with Antoine getting pulmonary cerebral edema, not pulmonary, but cerebral edema, and at the very least, extreme altitude sickness. That was, I would imagine most likely, after the long rest down in the valley and because of the physical exertion of flying. But you guys didn't have the space or the capacity, obviously, to have oxygen. It's too heavy and you can't fill up every day. How did you approach that? How did you deal with not having oxygen? Because also, when you fly that high without oxygen, it's also very cold. Oxygen helps you stay warmer. So I imagine the cold must have been fierce.
Yeah. So acclimatation was a big concern, particularly on the first days of flight. So for first days, we said us to don't fly above 5,000 meters, maybe 5,500, and we spent 2 days at 4,000 meters in bivouac because the weather was not good, and so we try to fly not very high, but our first flying day, the weather was very good on first day. So first thermal, we go up at 6,000 meters, and we say, oh shit, it's too high. we can't talk. It was too difficult to talk, and we have to respire between each words. So the first day was very, very complicated, and we were very concentrated to our conscience and to our respiration. And after the first bivouac, when Antoine broke his ankle, we sleep at 4,500. The day after was a bit better, and day after, after maybe 6 or 7 days, we flew over 7,000 meters without inquietude, because we just go up in the thermal and going down in the next transition. So the time spent in over 6,000 meters was not very long. It was okay. But on the Spantik, we spent a very long time at this altitude, and we made a physical effort, and I think our organism were not training for that, and it was very difficult, more difficult than a flight at the same altitude.
When you look back at it, it almost seems impossible to compare, a bivvy in the Atlas Mountains, which are big and beautiful, amazing place. I've done quite a bit of flying there too, and the Alps, your home, which is incredible. But then the scale, like you spoke about in Pakistan and the Himalaya, is so much bigger. Was it? Was it mostly just awesome and, like, wow, I can't believe I'm here? Or was there quite a bit of fear too? Like, my God, this is maybe bigger than, did you feel confident going there and in the first days, or was it just really scary?
All the days after each flight, I thought, wow, it was a flight of my life. And the next day, I thought the same thing.
Wow.
Because all the days it was more and more impressive, and more huge mountains and huge flight. But we were not afraid. When the conditions were good, it was cool to fly here. Just you have to keep in mind, it's forbidden to add an accident, forbidden to land on the bottom of the valley on a glacier, and you try to keep high every time. But it's not very afraid. 2 days on the west of the route near Afghanistan, we had a very strong west wind, and we flew 2 days with afraid condition. Maybe 40 kph west wind at 6,000 meters.
Ooh.
It was not good for flight.
Yeah.
But when the wind was not too strong, it was cool. It was very, very nice to fly in these areas.
If you did have an emergency, like let's say you couldn't have flown off the Spantik, and Antoine is very sick. What did you have to communicate? Did you have an InReach, or did you have a satellite phone? Or
InReach.
InReach, okay.
We had an InReach, 2 InReach, one each. Yep. So we can send a SMS to our family, and on the Spantik we send regularly SMS to my family and to Benoit, because Benoit send us meteo prevision forecast. Yep. But the meteo is very bad. The forecasts are very bad in this country, and when we leave for the Spantik, the forecast didn't say the bad weather come one day later. So it's very complicated to have a good forecast, and we flew every day when like that. Today it look like it's good. No, yeah, no, not too strong wind. Okay, let's try, and we'll see. But in which was only for rescue, and for me it was too, for my wife and my daughter. My daughter was 6 months 6 months
Whoa!
old when. Yeah.
Oh my god.
So it was a bit complicated for my wife.
I feel she's the real hero in this story, Damien. You know what I mean? she wow, what an amazing woman. Hats off to her. That good for you. That's incredible. When you look forward now, I went through this very interesting time after Alaska, because it was something that I planned for years. Literally, it was 6 years, something that I really wanted to do, and I'd looked at all the maps and everything, and then you do it. You and Antoine, you go there and you do it and you complete it. What was it like to be done and to come home and to have that kind of, for me, I don't know if you know this word, it's like a void, it's like a, for so long, it's something you strive to do. It's like the X Alps, you train and you train and you train, and then you do the race and it's just amazing. And then it's done. And then, and then it's done.
Yeah. Then it's done. Yes, we didn't prepare this expedition like you for several years before, and we made a route, but it was not a fixed route.
Yeah.
It was just
you hope it's like you hope it goes, but it doesn't have to go.
When the weather was not good on the direction of how route, we take on the right on the left. If the clouds looks better on the south of on the north, it's magical to say us, okay, if I land here, no problem, I have food, I have water. If this mountain is better than this one, so I go on this one. We
was open.
We were not fixed on one objective, one only objective, and we did some extra route when the weather said us it's better on the north or on the south. Yeah, the route was prepared,
yeah,
but not fixed.
Right.
Not
right. I understand. Yeah, you had an idea of what you wanted to do, but you could follow the weather. The weather would dictate what you would end up doing. What about, when you're done, when you've completed something, when you've had something that's so intense and so beautiful and hard and good flying, and I'm sure you developed a great friendship with Antoine, and there's a bond there. But then it's done, and for me, that when it's done, it's always kind of difficult to maybe get back into the swing of life.
I understand. Yeah, it's true. And for me, when I'm coming back, for me it was a mistake. I think I spent only 1 week at home, and I leave immediately for PWC competition in Bulgaria and in Turkey, and it was too much. I went to this competition because I booked all the stuff, all the flight ticket and the registration before, so I was forced to go, but it was too much, and I was not. My mind was not in the competition. I was in Pakistan. So I was not performant of this competition. I live alone again, my wife and my daughter. It was difficult for me, and after when I think back to that, I think it was a mistake to participate to compete to this race. And the normal life and the transition was not easy, and I think it was too early to fly with my race wing and to leave my family and again. And after for my job, it was different to going back to my job, my every days. But during 2 months, we called every days with Antoine for reading articles for the pictures on the Photoshop of Lightroom for made a good pictures and try to think about a movie. So my mind was occupied by that, and the autumn is passed quickly.
Yeah, I'm sure. Well, Damien, I want to be mindful of your time, and just a great talk. I'm imagining it all. And I encourage all of you who are listening to, I'll have the links to the 3 articles that Damien wrote. The pictures are just unbelievable, just awesome photography. You guys did a great job documenting it.
I can share with you some clip movie, short clip of big thermals or Flight Above the Balto. I don't know if you ever see it.
Yeah, I know. I saw a couple of them, and I spent a lot of time on your Facebook page and looked at some of those. That would be terrific. So I'll have all of that in the show notes for all the listeners to look at. But one final question, Damien. What's next?
And what's next, Damien? I don't know. I would like, at the beginning, I would like to participate to next XALP, but it's not possible. So for next year, I think I want to try to do some more competition, international competition, PWC, and I don't plan any expedition for next year. I think maybe some I can fly comp in Europe, and if I'm still motivated for night on, we'll see for the next XALP in 2021. I don't know, but for 2019, only competitions.
Damien, thank you so much. I really appreciate your time. This was a blast, and it took us a while to get the right connection, but we finally did. So thank you so much, and good luck to you. And I hope to see you soon. And I'm sure I'll see you at some PWCs. Maybe not this year because it's an XALPS year, but soon. So, but we'll talk soon.
Thank you, Gavin.
I hope you enjoyed that, man. That inspires me to do some bigger and better things. Very, very cool story. If you're getting something out of the Cloud-Based Mayhem, there are many ways you can support it. You can support it directly, financially. If you go to cloudbasedmayhem.com, you'll find the links to do that as a one-time deal through PayPal, or you can set it and forget it through Patreon on patreon.com/cloudbasedmayhem. Again, you'll find the links to that on the website. And we also accept crypto, kind of a new thing, which is kind of fun. But through Patreon, you'll be rewarded for contributing. You only pay when we put out content, so it's all on us. And you've probably heard my spiels in the past. We just are not funding this through sponsorship. We're going direct because I feel like that's just a more authentic way to go. And you'll hear in some of the past episodes, you'll hear why more about why I think that's the best way to do things. But anyway, if you can't support us financially, I totally understand. And there are other ways you can do it. You can give us a rating on iTunes or Stitcher or however you listen to your podcast, however you get them. You can blog about it on your own website. You can share it on social media, which is really big on Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or however you like to get your social media. You can talk about it on the way up to launch. What this is all about is just spreading information and knowledge to try to help all of us be safer and better pilots and help our community. So thanks for the love. Appreciate it. Happy holidays. See you on the next show. Cheers.